Making your own climbing holds is very rewarding. However, it doesn't come without its own issues. When I first started out making climbing holds, my mentor told me to look at some of the issues that are there and create a solution for those. One of those issues that I looked at was how to create the bolt hole in the climbing holds, and I came up with this steel dowel. Bruno has asked, how do I create these dowels? And this dowel I actually created on this machine behind me. It's a metal lathe, and most people don't have a metal lathe in their workshop, so I'm going to show you how to create this dowel, which is out of wood. Let's get started. Before we jump straight into making this dowel, I need to talk about some of the things or the reasons why I created this in the first place, and different ways that you can create the bolt hole in your climbing hold, because this might not be the best solution for you. So I have 4 different climbing hold molds on the table here, and we're going to go ahead and talk about all of those. This is what is most common when you go into a shop that is creating these climbing holds at a mass production. You're going to see the bolt hole molded right into the mold. It's a little rubber piece that sticks up in the middle, and that's what creates the bolt hole. It works really easily. However, the problem is when your molds fail, it's usually this. There is ways to repair it, but usually they get trashed. Another way that you could do it is the way that I've done it here, where I've molded in the head of the bolt, but not the bolt hole itself. So with this hold, I'm simply going to take a bolt that I've cut the threads off of, so it's just the shoulder, and I'm going to stick that down in the hole. Easy. It's going to give me a nice clean bolt hole, and it's kind of a hybrid between these two systems. Now that might work out best for you in your situation, but the reason that I have this mold on the table here is because, well, it's broken. That tore out, and now this is no longer usable other than showing you what not to do. Now let's get making this. Now, in order to talk about what size we need to make this dowel, we need to look at the bolt first. This is a typical bolt that's used for climbing holds in the United States of Awesome. In a few moments, which is right now, I propose that we change the name of this beautiful country to the United States of Awesome, because it is totally appropriate and people will love it. The head measures 0.55 inches, and the bolt itself is 3/8, or 0.37. Now, I would like to go over size with this. In the past, I have used both 3/4 of an inch for the bolt head and 7/16 for the shank. I've also used 5/8 of an inch for the bolt head, which is snug. You don't want to go tighter than that. You want to keep those tolerances open. Now, if you live anywhere outside of the United States of Awesome, the bolt measures bigger. So that is 0.61 inches, or actually, let's take it down to millimeters. We'll zero that out. So the metric bolt measures 15.75 millimeters at the head, whereas the standard size in America, the bolt measures 14.09 millimeters. So there is a difference there. However, We do want to make it a little bit larger than what is necessary. So if we go with a 3/4 of an inch, it's going to work for both systems. Now, I would highly recommend making your hole size that the shaft goes through bigger than what is needed so it has a little bit of play. I've always done 7/16. That's going to work just fine for both bolts. The metric size is just slightly bigger. Look at that. All right, now we can start making this. Let's go grab the right size dowel, which is going to be 3/4 of an inch, and this, which is going to be 7/16. I've been using these for a really long time and it works great. So we're going to take this size is 1/4 of an inch about, and we'll cut it at that. Next, we're going to take our 7/16 inch dowel, and we do want to go a little bit long. So let's see, with this one, we'll call that 3.5 of an inch. And this one's worked for me, I think, in almost every hold. Maybe we'll go 4 inches
this is
just to make sure.
Now that we have these dowels cut out, we can take the base of it and find the center. To do that, I've got a plate here that is half the thickness of the dowel. So I'm going to put that on the table, set my dowel up to it, and start making lines across the face. Where those lines intersect should be the center. Now, I'm going to make several lines here just in case some things are off a little bit. It should show me a little bit better where that center is. There are other ways to do this, but I think this is working pretty good. Now that we've got that marked out, I'm going to make a jig to help hold this on the drill press so I can go all the way through the center and so I don't lose any fingers in the process. No offense, Tommy.
Which is like a big deal as a climber, you know?
We got to get a 3/4 inch drill bit because that's what we're using, and a piece of scrap wood. Drill through that. Then I'm going to put a pocket hole in the side for a screw. This will make more sense here in a minute. Now I've got to cut a slit so that will be able to clamp down on that dowel when we put it in there. Looking pretty good. Now we use a 7/16 drill bit and just drill straight through that dowel. It's looking pretty good. Boop. Well, our 7/16 wooden dowel doesn't fit very good.
I think that's probably a good idea, but let's sand this down.
So after lots and lots and lots and lots of sanding and a little bit more sanding,
beautiful, beautiful. Oh, that's how you want it to go in there. Just like that. So nice.
we don't want to just leave this raw wood. We're going to coat it in poly. You also want to make sure that when you're putting this in your climbing hold mold to pour a climbing hold, that you put some kind of release agent around this as well.
I hope that you've enjoyed this video. If you have, give it a thumbs up. If you know anybody that needs this information or that it could benefit them, please share it with them. Subscribe if you haven't yet, and I will see you next time right here on Climber Dad.